It's an absolutely wild day in the world of Magic the Gathering as a second wave of Baldur's Gate Commander Legends leaks have just hit the streets. And you're going to want to go ahead and grab a whole bunch of popcorn because the story behind all of this is incredible.
Magic. I am a wizard! History. I'm an old wizard! The magic historian. My bones hurt.
Greetings, owners of fine luxury cardboard rectangles, my friends. I hope the day finds you well because we have gathered for a very interesting situation indeed. Not only do we get to see a bunch of cards in advance, but there is an additional story that is absolutely crazy that's tacked onto it as well. So here's how it's gonna go. I have some spoilers to show you in this video, some which will give you extra information, including how backgrounds work. Now, I'm not going to cover all the spoilers here because there are a ton of these cards. So we'll do the same thing we did with the last batch. I will cover them on my other channel, Hatcher, in a live stream. So before we dive into the actual spoilers, I want to talk about the crazy story that has led to this leak situation, because most likely this is going to end up with somebody in jail, or at the very least with a lot of legal problems. So I have dug around on the internet and I have pulled together what looks like all of the different details for this story. Bear in mind, this involves multiple deleted accounts, anonymous information, and things like that. So this may not be 100% the crystal clear picture, but I feel like we have enough information to basically construct the narrative of what's going on. And it's pretty epic. So we start out with the individual at the center of all this, who I'm going to call Wavy T, because that is one of the usernames that they went by. So we don't know who this individual is yet. Maybe one day it'll come to light. I can guarantee Wizards of the Coast is going to figure out who it is. They're already actually in the process. It's gotten absolutely wild. So underneath it all, what happened was a bunch of Baldur's Gate leaks just appeared out of nowhere. The origin source, TikTok videos. Now that is the least likely source to me for a genuinely new magic leak occurring. But the weird thing is these TikTok leaks didn't feel 100% genuine, but there was a lot in there that did feel genuine. And that's because there's multiple layers to this story, where not only did this individual have authentic magic cards, but they were also mixing in their own homemade fakes into what they were showing. So essentially what happened is it started with a series of TikTok videos, and that caused a lot of low-level rumbling as information kind of got spread around and people went, wait, is this real? I don't know if it's real. Look at these cards. These look fake, right? So you had people who were speculating on what's going on. But at the same time, as soon as people get wind, wait a minute. You've got Commander Legends Baldur's Gates cards? How is that possible? That's not supposed to come out until June. And right now, we're literally about to go into the Capenna season. Capenna pre-release is tomorrow. And this is being massively overshadowed by this mega leak, right? So people start to catch wind of it and they start to contact the guy. You've got individual collectors who are like, yo, you've got this Baldur's Gate stuff. Can I buy cards from you? You've got other people going, yo, how many of these packs do you have? Can I get some? You've got not just regular everyday people who want them for their own use, but you also have, at least at first, TikTok content creators who are just like, bro, can I buy some of these? If I can open these on my channel, it'll be amazing for me. Like, I don't know, man. This is absolutely wild. So basically, we start with this dude at the center of it, Wavy T, who, as far as information shows, looks like he was actually the employee of a printing facility and a very disgruntled employee. So apparently he absconded with a fair bit of product. No way to 100% nail things down because the only information we have is through conversations that people had with this guy. So there's no way of knowing exactly how forthcoming he was. But it appears that he got his hands on multiple different card games and about 2 cases worth of Magic the Gathering collector boosters from the upcoming Commander Legends set. So he's basically offering to sell these. He's getting hit up by people. They're saying, yo, we want to buy these packs. Now, this is when Wizards of the Coast's bloodhounds get on his trail, right? So they're contacting him, asking him, hey, can we buy this? And if you're wondering what was going on previously, why people were confused, what's this aspect with the fake cards? Well, what this guy was doing to drum up hype, because this is really hilarious to me, not realizing that having a set 2 months in advance before anybody else does is way more hype than you need at all. He actually muddied the water by making his own fake cards and inserting them in as well, essentially in an attempt to generate hype with these fake Magic cards, where it's like, whoa, look at what this does. You ever heard of this? Wow, that's crazy. When you have access to that many genuine Magic cards, you don't even need to do that. It's like the guy can't even help himself, right? And apparently some of the messages that he sent to people were like saying, yeah, basically I'm gonna make this company pay and whatever. So he is angry at his employer and looking to make some cash off of this. I mean, I assume it's a dude. Again, we only have a username, right? So this situation is absolutely wild. I'm gonna burn my bus. I'm gonna sell this stuff to people. Wizards of the Coast bloodhounds get on the trail and basically go, hey, will you sell us some of these packs? And he's like, yeah, no problem. And then they're like, gotcha, this is Wizards of the Coast legal. You better stop, we're coming for you, kind of thing, right? Like, I don't know the exact wording, but that's essentially what happened. So what does Wavy T do? At this point, most of us would be like, it's time to pack up shop, right? But not good old Wavy T. Nah, he just keeps waving that T right in Wizard's face. His TikTok account gets shut down, right? Wizards gets him shut down. He loses his TikTok account. What does Wavy T do? He sets up another TikTok account. What does he do next? He opens more boosters and he puts more on his new TikTok account. Now, on top of this, you have to understand that old Wavy T has made deals with a bunch of people to sell them boosters. And again, not really understanding what he has his hands on, he's agreed to sell these boosters for like $30 a pop plus shipping. Now, we all know $30 for a collector's booster, I mean, at least in Canada, that's roughly on par for what the price is. So this guy's basically selling it at maybe, because it's American pricing, so I guess that's a little bit more than you guys pay for collector boosters. But really, he's offering to sell collector boosters at almost regular. Bro, you could have slapped an extra 0 on there and people would have paid it, right? So what happens to all of the buyers who wanted to buy from good old Wavy T? Wavy T turns around and does one of these. He goes, everybody who paid me for these packs, my TikTok got deleted. All that info's gone. So I'm not going to send any of you anything. But if you want to buy a pack, you can pay me again and I'll make sure you get your pack. The stones, Wavy T, stones made of pure titanium. But brains, woohoo, I don't know. I don't know what those are made of. Maybe mush. I don't know how you think in this day and age that you can get away with something like this. Literally stealing highly sensitive, like, I don't know, man. He must have no idea how the world of Magic works and how on top of this kind of stuff Wizards is. Like, I fully expect in the future Wizards of the Coast to make a press release talking about how this guy has been chased down, essentially, because they had a previous scenario where somebody was taking pictures of full uncut sheets. And that guy got the full weight of Wizards brought down on him. And that was literally just spoiling 1 or 2 of the rare sheets. This is pretty much like half of the set, the day before Capenna. I don't know how you go about proving financial damages to your company or anything like that, but I imagine that the lawyers are going to be able to argue that this would cause significant financial harm. Not only does it greatly diminish the upcoming hype for the Baldur's Gate Commander set, but at the same time, it crushes Capenna. We should be focused on Capenna. I had a Capenna video planned for today, but with this situation completely erased, why would I talk about that when Wavy T is out there going, I am untouchable? The man literally gets found out by Wizards of the Coast. They tell him they're coming for him. They shut down his TikTok and he just goes clickety-clack, clickety-clack. Nobody stops the T. I'll be over here waving, bro. Check it out. And extra leak action initiate. And still trying to sell the packs. Like, on one hand, I'm like, bro, are you crazy? What are you doing? Stop it. On the other hand, I'm like, keep pushing the story to the next level of insanity, bro. Keep going wild and crazy with it. I ain't saying commit crimes, but at this point, the story is already legendary. So why not add on to the legend? Do you know what I mean? Like, Wavy T, what are you doing? It's incredible. And it's led to us having access ahead of time to a bunch of cards we shouldn't. So let's find out about background, because I know there's a bunch of people who are interested in that. Up on the screen, you're going to see Abdul Adrian Gorian's Ward. He's 1 white and 4 for a 4/4 legendary human warrior. When he enters the battlefield, exile any number of other non-land permanents you control until he leaves the battlefield. And then the other ability says, choose a background. And in parentheses, we finally have the answer of what it is. You can have a background as a second commander. So it functions similarly, it would appear, to partner. And I imagine it also affects your color identity too, right? So for example, if you were to take Abdel here as your legendary dude, boom, you've got white in your color identity. And let's say you then added in Cultist of the Absolute as your background. Well, now you might have the white-black color identity. I assume that backgrounds will forge your commander color identity. Now, Cultist of the Absolute is a pretty wild concept. 1 black for a background that says commander creatures you own get +3/+3 and have flying, death touch, and ward pay 3 life, and at the beginning of your upkeep, sacrifice a creature. So essentially, you're turning your commander into these insane demons. I must feed on blood, right? Like even on themselves in terms of you have to sack a creature. If you don't have any other creatures, you have to sack your commander. But there is actually a card that just got leaked that makes creatures unsacrificable, which is really interesting. And we'll actually talk about that in the live stream over on Hatcher, because that is not one of the cards that I had to showcase for you here. But I do have to show you Wilson the Refined Grizzly, because I adore this card so much, right? When I started playing Magic, you had Grizzly Bears. It was 1 green and 1 for a 2/2. And basically it taught me bear math. It was like the basic metrics that I used for the game. 2 mana for a 2/2 felt like an okay deal. If you got something better than a 2/2 for 2 mana, like they had any abilities, then you were already getting ahead. Now that's really old school Magic logic, right? We're talking back in the mid-90s. But basically, Wilson Refined Grizzly is exactly that. He's been a grizzly bear that's been refined to epic levels. He can't be countered. He's got vigilance, reach, trample, ward 2, and you can use him to choose a background if you want as well. But honestly, I don't care about that part. I'm just stoked about a grizzly bear that is loaded down with all of the abilities. This is the Acroma of grizzly bears. I cannot explain absolutely how much I love this. And the fact that this has to be based off of some actually pre-existent thing in Dungeons & Dragons makes me want to know about Wilson. So if you know what the deal is with Wilson, because you're in with that part of D&D, then let me know in the comments, because I'm genuinely interested. Next up, we've got the Nautiloid ship. This thing is bonkers. It's a 4 casting cost artifact vehicle. When it's a creature, it's 5/5. It's got flying. When it enters the battlefield, you get to exile target player's graveyard. And whenever it deals combat damage to a player, you may put a creature card exiled with the ship onto the battlefield under your control. And it only accrues for 3. So this thing is super easy to activate. It'll eat an entire opponent's graveyard, so you don't got to worry about the cards in it. And then all the cards that were in that graveyard become your playthings. Well, I mean, guess not all of the things. It's really just the creatures, but you get what I'm saying, right? It's pretty nutty. And if I'm not mistaken, this represents one of the crazy astral plane vehicles. So if you want to travel in the astral plane, you need something like this, right? It's like, if I am right about this, Nautiloid ships are similar to spelljammers, right? Admittedly, when it comes to Dungeons and Dragons, I was the same way that I was with D&D, where I tended to focus more on swords and sorcery style fantasy. So once you move into the Spelljammer and stuff like that, it starts to feel more like outer space ships and stuff. So I don't know that much about the Nautiloids because it falls into that realm of, okay, you know what, I'm sure that's kind of cool, but it doesn't interest me nearly as much as the Tarrasque or these dragons, all this other cool stuff you got going on, right? So the Nautiloid ship, though, from a power perspective, is quite potent. This is nothing to be sneezed at. Now, as I said, my friends, there are a ton of cards that were leaked here. I just wanted to talk about a few interesting ones because we're going to be covering all of them in a live stream over on Hatcher. I'm going to leave a link up to the previous Baldur's Gate Commander Legends spoiler stream on the screen. That way you can find the channel while we're doing it, because the live stream will happen later on this afternoon. That way, if you want to be there, you'll have time to arrive and prepare yourself, because we've got a lot to talk about. Thank you for coming by, my friends. Big shout out to all my patrons for being so awesome, and I will see you guys next time.